Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to run a little test on my color theory. I've got a dartboard way back there which I placed on a color wheel, and I'm going to throw these darts at it, and with my dart skills not probably being too accurate, I'm going to assume they are a random distribution of colors. And if you've watched my previous videos, you've seen when I deal with color theory, I like to say color theory is based on pattern. And so what I'm hoping we'll see today is if I throw these darts, I'll get some random generations of colors. They might not work that well together because they're just random, but then maybe what I can do is I can tweak them into a pattern, thus sort of proving the concept that color theory can really be determined by pattern in sort of a fun way. So I haven't really thrown darts in a very long time, so we'll give it a go. We'll see how it goes. All right, so let me step over here. So here we go. This is what I sort of randomly came up with. I actually tried to make, as a quick note, I tried to make each cell here the same area. Because it gets skinnier, it means it's longer. We can see what sort of happened here as I end up getting more in this close zone. Although that one almost missed here. And so what I'll do is at some point I'll throw up on the screen a closer view of what these four individual colors were, so we can take a look at the color palette that created. But while I'll do that, I'll also just try to take a look here and see what kind of sort of pattern we can take. One thing I note is that these two, just by chance, are sort of complementary colors. And so one thing I can do to sort of tweak that is I could take this green and this purple, which are also fairly close to being complementary colors, and sort of just take this guy and move him to, say, here to get a better pattern. So actually this randomness that I did was actually fairly close to a pattern. Now, one of the other things we see here is these are all in the center ring. This one's out here sort of in a much more bright hue. Now I could, if I wanted to do a full pattern, I could move this down here, and then I would have a very clear pattern of a color wheel. But one thing I don't talk a lot about when I talk about the theory of all this patterns and things is sometimes you want to break it. It could get boring if you follow a pattern exclusively, and sometimes you just want to twist. So you know what, I think I'm going to look at this color palette where I have these darker colors down here but one bright one, but nonetheless it's still in a clear pattern around this color wheel here. So again, I'll show something up on screen about that, and we'll see if the second one looked better than the first.
Alright, so what I have done here is after throwing the darts, I came back and put together a sample of what the darts actually were. It should be more clear. The X's mark the spot of where the darts landed on the dartboard, and then the colors, the four circles across the bottom, those are the specific colors pulled out. And we can see how it looks. It's a sort of an interesting color, and as I noted in the other screen, it was pretty close to a pattern to begin with. But what I can do is then I can pull up the second version, and if we look at the X across the green dart, we can see where it would move to pull all of these X's within a pattern. And we can look across the bottom and say, is the second set of colors, the pattern colors, better than the first set? And I would say in this case, yes, it was a subtle move because there was clearly already somewhat of a pattern in here, but particularly the green. The green in the first one looks gray and dark, and it doesn't quite go together with the other colors, but with that simple shift, we got a really nice, interesting color palette. And sort of as I said when I was live, having the yellow be a bit brighter also just gives it that little bit of punch that really makes this an interesting thing. So let me go back to throwing darts.
But I think what I'll do is, let's keep going. Let's try another experiment. In the meantime, if you want to know more about the theory, which I'm not going to get into, please check out the videos that I have posted on color theory. I'll provide the links in the descriptions. So let me put this back up and take another throw. So interestingly, we can see here I sort of all went to the same side on this one. And so we could use what I would call a sector and sort of look at this guy and this guy as the furthest ones around. and readjust this to make sure that these middle two are sort of evenly spaced in between.
Again, here in this view, we can take a more precise look at what colors the darts hit. And we can see here across the bottom, they're fairly dark. In fact, the first two colors, those purplish colors, actually appear quite similar to each other. And so
I might even take this one out. Why don't I do that? You know what, I'm going to take this one out for this pattern. I could keep it, but just because of the jumps I have in here, it makes it easy that this to this is the same as that to that. And so we'll take a look at that color palette and see how that one works.
So what I did in the video is I moved some darts around, and if you watch the X's, you'll notice one moves and one disappears. And so I did that because two colors were very similar. And if we look at the second set of colors, the pattern colors, this is a deep, rich hue. It looks quite nice, and that 3 is all you need. And you can see those colors relate really nicely together, where on the ones that I threw with the darts, some are too close to each other, some are too far away from each other to sort of relate to each other, and it's sort of all over the place. But this 3 colors I have on the pattern color is really nice. And I think with just the 3 X's, if you look up on the dartboard, the pattern color, you can really see that those are indeed equally spaced around the dart. There is a clear pattern on the right hand side, where on the left hand side it is a bit random.
All right, I'm going to try it again to see. Maybe I'll aim a little wider, and maybe we'll see what happens. See what happens. Oh, I missed. Let me go get that one. All right, so here we go. This is a nice random assortment of colors on this one. And
all right, so here is another example of sort of darts thrown up. They're sort of all over the place, and we get the set of colors across the bottom. You can see what they are.
Just trying to think here. So this one, there's a yellow color, there's one space in between, then the color, then one space in between, and a color. So we can start to see there's a pattern down this way. Now in this case, I got one space in between. The next color would be here, but I'm one off. So what I might start by doing is bringing this in here. So basically, I have a hue, a space, a hue, a space, a hue, a space, and a hue. So I'll only look at this segment of the color wheel on this one. Now in this case, I have a high mark of the color out here, some darker ones and some in between here. And so really, if I'm going from this color to this color, this one down low probably doesn't make much sense, so I'll probably want to put that one out here. And then similarly, I'll probably want to move this one just one step out as well. So now these are basically spaced out, moving up around the color wheel on this one, and then it reaches a high point and sort of moves back down the same length on that one. Actually, this one would move, I apologize, would actually move all the way over to that one to be the same length around.
So what I did is I had moved those around, and if we watch the X's, we'll see a couple of these X's shift to the right. And what that has done is it sort of created an equal space in between each X. Across the bottom there of the pattern colors, you can see the resultant change. Now in this one, I would say the left hand side color palettes, which was from the darts, and the right hand side, they're not really all that different. They're pretty similar to each other. But I would say the one on the right is just it's just tighter, it's a little cleaner, it's even a little brighter, and really is nicer to the eye. And so I would say that this experiment was pretty much a success. I could create a random set of colors and create a color palette, but just by tweaking those colors a little bit to make sure all the points were in a clear pattern around this color wheel, I can get an even better color palette out of that.
Well, thanks for watching this video. I hope it was a little fun, but I hope it also sort of taught the lessons of how we can use pattern. Just a little bit of thinking can really help in design, and in this case color theory, and show that pattern and color theory are closely related. Again, if you want to check out more detail about the theory and the specifics, you're going to have to check out my other videos. If you want to play around, go ahead and make your own dartboard and show me what you got. All right, thanks for watching.